What is going on, everybody? It's Stas here. So we had a pretty good day in the markets today. The S&P and the Dow went up 0.2%. The NASDAQ 100 went up 0.5%. And the Russell pretty much broke even. So today we're going to break down some stocks, some charts, my thoughts on the markets, plus more. So sit back, relax, hit the like button, subscribe, check out my Patreon down below if you guys want all my buys, sells, call outs, morning update videos, plus more. All of that's on Patreon. And with that being said, let's get right into the video. So SPY ended up hitting yet again another all-time high today, and it actually came in the aftermarket hours. You guys can see here on the intraday chart, SPY hit an all-time high about 30 minutes, actually less than 30 minutes ago, at $459.77. And look at this massive rip we saw after that double bottom at about 2:33 p.m. here on the East Coast. Look at that. We double bottomed at about 457.80, and then boom, we rallied all the way to the mid 459s, and then we hit that all-time high, like I said, about 20 minutes ago. So overall, SPY looks extremely bullish. I'm thinking next week there's a real possibility that we end up taking out 460, hence why I have an alert at 460, and we end up seeing another leg up out of there. And no, guys, I'm not oblivious to the fact that if we do see a leg up from there, we will be overbought. So don't be surprised if, yes, we hit 460, 465, maybe 470, and then we do see a little bit of a pullback, maybe a slowdown for a week or two, followed by consolidation, and then maybe another push up. So keep that in mind when it comes to SPY. And for QQQ, which initially, guys, took a beating considering Apple and Amazon did not do so well. In fact, they closed down today. Apple went down about 1.8%. Amazon went down 2%. And they were down even more. So QQQ didn't start off well. In fact, it was down a little bit in the pre-market and aftermarket hours yesterday. But it doesn't matter considering all throughout the day after that rough start. You guys can see it here on the 5-day, 5-minute. QQQ ended up ripping and went from 381 all the way to 386.68, which is that all-time high, the all-time high on QQQ as of now. So based on the 4-hour chart, it's breaking out. We took out the high from the beginning of September. We blew right past it, and that was at about 383. And it seems like there's a full head of steam to the upside now. Who knows? We might go 390, 395, followed by some consolidation, a pullback, as just like SPY, QQQ at that point will be very overbought. I mean, it's already on the overbought side even here, but I still think there could be a little push, some more momentum in the meantime. So what do you guys think? Drop me a comment down below. Make sure you all smash that like button as well if you all find value in this video and my videos in general. It really helps me out in the YouTube algorithm, and it just shows support in general. If you guys do hit the like button, I do appreciate each and every one of you out there. So let's talk about some stocks. We're going to go over 5 earnings reports today. And before we do that, let's look at Tesla, because just when you thought this was overbought, it went up even more. And that's Tesla for you in a nutshell, right? I'm sure people out there sold it at $9.50 when it broke that all-time high. Some of you maybe sold it at $9.25. And I was saying even at $1,000 it was overbought. But I didn't sell a dime. You know, I'm still holding on to all my Tesla because I know that even though it's overbought, it can still go higher. And it's also a long-term investment for me. So I'm not really looking to sell out of it now quite yet. I might trim a little bit in one of my accounts that I hold Tesla. I'm thinking about it. I am talking about it tomorrow in my video, my M1 Finance update, because I already filmed it and I know what I talk about, but you guys don't know yet, so you have to watch out for that video tomorrow. I might trim a little bit in that account, but I go over more about that in tomorrow's video, so stay tuned. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't done so already. And just when you think it's overbought, it goes higher, right? We broke 900, 950, 1,000. We saw the huge volume spike a couple of days ago when it hit 1,000. You guys can see it right here. What day was that? That was on the 25th. That might have been on Monday. You can see here, we hit 1,000 that day, and then boom, the huge volume spike. We saw a lot of orders come in. It hit 1050 that day, and it's just been holding the trend ever since. Today we hit another all-time high at $1,122, and that actually hit in the aftermarket hours. So if you guys are long Tesla, and it's a short-term trade, swing trade, I'm not telling you what to do, but consider taking some profits. You know, it's never a bad idea to lock in profits when you're up a lot, especially when it's super extended like where it is right now. And on the flip side, if you're a long-term investor, maybe you just want to let it ride, which again, for me, for the most part, I'm letting it ride. I might trim a little bit in my long-term, in one of my long-term accounts. I'm not sure quite yet, but for the most part, I'm letting it ride. And it really comes down to what you want to do, your risk tolerance, and depending on where you entered, you know, how much you're up on the position, it's really relative to you. But at this point, we're all making money. If we're in Tesla, well, let me rephrase that. If you're short Tesla, you're not making money. But if you're long, which I am, most of you guys probably are, at least some of you are, we're making money right now, at least on paper, and I cannot complain. So, yeah, it's doing very well, guys. Very, very strong move here on Tesla. So let's go over some earnings reports. Number one is RCL, Royal Caribbean. They reported earnings today, this morning. They did Q3 EPS of negative $4.91 versus negative $4.16. So they missed EPS. Revenue also missed by a wide margin, $456.96 million versus $612.15 million estimated. So double miss for RCL. And we know the cruise lines, they're going through it right now. There is light at the end of the tunnel, though, but they're still going through it right now. And they do anticipate, which I guess this is good news, they anticipate 50 of the 61 ships will have returned to service across the 5 brands by year end, which is in a couple months, 2 months from now. And they said 40 ships, or 65% of capacity, have already resumed sailing as of Friday, which I'm assuming that's this Friday, today, the day I'm filming this video. And overall, if we pop up this long-term chart, I'm noticing a head and shoulder on RCL. We have the left shoulder, the head, the right shoulder. So I wouldn't go long unless this broke out of at least 95 to 100 bucks, right around this 50 moving average on this long-term chart. And that's the neckline of the head and shoulder. It has to break out of 95, 100 bucks, which as of now, it's trading at $84. So if we're looking at it, let me give you two perspectives here, right? Let's say you want to go long as a longer term trade, maybe a couple months, a couple years. The technical spot to break is going to be, like I said, 95 to 100. But if you want to make a very short-term trade, maybe a week or 2 weeks, if I go back to the 4-hour, there could be a move within this right shoulder. You know, what we're noticing here on the 4-hour is a wedge that's been forming over the past couple of months since February. You know, we've been making lower highs, higher lows at the same time, and now we're trading just under the moving averages, and we're holding a higher low at about 84, 85. So if we can make a short-term trade between 85 to 92, which would put it right by the top of the wedge here, that's within the overall head and shoulder, the right shoulder, that could be a good move from 85 to 92 bucks, if you guys get what I mean, right? So there's short-term potential, 85, 92, and there's longer term if it breaks the neckline at about 95, 100. So, yeah, keep that in mind for RCL. We had some energy stocks report today as well this morning. Exxon did $1.58 versus $1.56 EPS, so they beat EPS, and they did revenue of $73.79 billion versus $71.13 billion estimated. So double beat for Exxon. And a year ago, get this, guys, remember they just did $73.79 billion this quarter. A year ago, they did $46.82 $28.2 billion. So almost $30 billion more. Well, actually not more. A little bit less than $30 billion of extra revenue this year compared to last, which is insane. And we got news that stock repurchases are going to begin. They're expected to begin at least next year, which is a good sign as well if you're an existing shareholder of Exxon, which, full disclosure, I'm not anymore. I used to be. I owned it at 45. I sold it at about 65 a couple months ago, maybe 63, 64. And now I just own XLE, which is an ETF that tracks a bunch of energy stocks, so I have more exposure to the industry, the sector, right? So, yeah, Exxon's crushing it. Very good earnings there. CVX, good earnings as well. This is Chevron, another energy company. They did EPS of $2.96 versus $2.21 estimated, so they beat EPS. Revenue came in at $44.71 billion versus $40.52 billion estimated, so nice double beat. And notice that Chevron and Exxon, they're both gunning for the highs, at least here on the 4-hour chart. And if I pop up, let's say, the 3-year chart, now we're taking out highs. We're at a multi-year high at this point, and now we're heading towards the highs from back in 2019 on Chevron. And if I pop up Exxon, we're heading to the highs also of 2019, or at least some of the highs from 2019. So oil in general is doing well. If I pop up crude oil very quickly, let's see where that's trading. Crude oil is a little bit off the highs from a couple days ago. It hit 85.41, and it pulled back a bit from there, rightfully so, as every uptrend sees. It sees pullbacks, healthy pullbacks, and that's what we saw with crude oil. It hit 85, went down to about 80, 81, consolidated there for a day or two. Now we're pushing back over 83. We're trading above both moving averages on the 4-hour chart. I see crude oil taking that high out again, and honestly, I see it going up 85 plus, 90 a barrel, maybe even 100 by the year end. I definitely see that in the cards. So let's go over ABBV. They just reported today, this morning, and the stock is going ballistic, at least for AbbVie, right? 4.5% for AbbVie is pretty good, but 4.5% for a GameStop, a Tesla, an AMC, it's just another day in the markets. But for AbbVie, guys, come on. 4.5%, that qualifies as ballistic in my eyes. So let's see what they did. They did EPS of $3.33 versus $3.22 estimated. They did revenue of $14.34 billion versus $14.32 billion. So double beat, and they also raised their quarterly dividend from $1.30 to $1.41, which is an 8% increase there, and they also raised their full year 2021 guidance for EPS. So pretty solid quarter. If you're a dividend investor, you own AbbVie, your dividend stream, your passive income stream is increasing, which is always nice. And on a technical basis here, we're trading above both moving averages. With today's move, we ended up taking out the highs from the beginning of October, which were around 111, 112, and we also took out the lows from, if you guys look at this chart here, from the middle of July, middle of August, that month period, we were bottoming at about 113, 114. That was support. We obviously broke the support. It became resistance, and now we broke that resistance. We're again trading above 114. So AbbVie's looking good. I think it is a bit overbought, though, so keep that in mind. We might consolidate a bit, even sell off. But if we end up holding 112, 113, there's a big gap to fill from about 112, 113 to 118, 120, which were the high points from pretty much middle of May throughout the beginning of September. So this looks good. I like the chart. Pretty solid earnings. Shout out to AbbVie holders out there. CL, let's pop that up. Colgate-Palmolive. This one is down a good chunk. If you guys look at the 4-hour chart, we were at $85 per share back in the end of May, and now we just hit $76. So we're down about 10%. It's in a correction territory, and they reported earnings this morning, and they ended up doing 81 cents versus 79 cents estimated. Revenue came in at $4.41 billion versus $4.40 billion. So they beat EPS, they beat revenue. They expect full year 2021 net sales to be up 4 to 7%. Not too shabby for a company like Colgate-Palmolive. And the chart on the 3-year chart looks pretty decent. I mean, we're noticing a wedge. Lower highs, higher lows are being made at the same time. And as we've been holding 74, 75, 76 the past couple of days, we've been holding the 180 moving average, which you guys can see. That is a sign that the uptrend's holding, and that's been support the past couple of years. So I think there's a gap to be filled here on Colgate-Palmolive. I think there could be a move potentially, especially if we start breaking the high 70s, 77, 78. If we start getting out of there into the 80s, I think CL, my mind goes straight to crude oil. CL's Colgate-Palmolive as well, guys, right? If CL breaks out of 78 into the 80s, mid-80s, definitely in the cards. So keep that in mind. Colgate-Palmolive, not too bad of a setup there. And then the last one I want to go over today before I send you guys on your merry old way on this nice Friday night is Align Technology. They crushed earnings. We saw the consolidation period before earnings at about $580, $600, and then as they reported, it completely broke out. We went from about $580 to about $670, which is a big move. That's about a 13% move, and it cooled off a bit. We got some profit taking, weak hands getting shaken out, and you guys can see on a technical basis, we got rejected right by that 180 moving average and that resistance from the beginning of October at about 670, and we pulled back. That was yesterday, and today, and yesterday for that matter, if I pop up the 5-day, you notice pure consolidation after that pullback. We've been consolidating around 610 to 620. Now all we need to see is the pop out of 630. So I'm going to put my alert at $630 per share. And if I go back to that 4-hour chart, if we start breaking that, guys, we might fill the gap straight up to 670, 680 again, right by that 180 moving average and right by where we got after earnings were reported. If you guys remember, they reported after hours. The stock went all the way to 675. That is where we could be going if we start popping above 630, which gives it about a 6-7% potential for upside from here. So watch out for Align, Colgate-Palmolive, AbbVie, Chevron, Exxon, the two energy giants out there, and the whole energy space in general, crude oil, all that. Watch out for RCL, and of course, keep your eyes on the mighty old Tesla. So that's pretty much it. I'm going to wrap up the video here, guys. If you enjoyed it, hit the like button, subscribe. Check out my Patreon down below if you want all my buys, sells, call-outs, morning update videos, plus more access to me as well. All of that's on Patreon, link down below, or you guys can go to StasserFest.com/Patreon. That's StasserFest.com/Patreon. Drop me a comment. Let me know your thoughts. And also, don't forget, get your free money. $30 from M1, your 2 stocks from Webull up to $1,600. Those are linked down below. And that's it. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching again. As always, keep crushing the markets. Wait, hold on. I just forgot. I made a video earlier. 3 oversold stocks. I got to shout it out, guys. Check that out. I'll pop it here. I'll see you guys there again. Thanks for watching. Have a great weekend. Peace out.